Illumination Publishers presents Mighty Man of God, A Return to the Glory of Manhood by author Sam Laing. Chapter 14, Benevolence. We begin this chapter with the wisdom of benevolence found in Proverbs 11 verse 25. A generous man will prosper. He who refreshes others will himself be refreshed. A mighty man is a generous man with an open heart and an open hand. He is powerful in good deeds. He is strong in helping the weak, the poor, and those in need. A benevolent man sees a need and immediately springs into action. Is someone sick? Is someone in financial distress? Is someone in trouble? The mighty man is their defender and their helper. He is the gallant knight who comes to the rescue. The first section of chapter 14 is titled Biblical Illustrations. It was said of the young Jerusalem church that there were no needy persons among them. Acts 4:34. This was because people shared what they had. When their brothers did not have enough, they shared their possessions with them. What would move people to do such a thing? The example of Jesus was certainly a powerful incentive, but they had a living example as well. Joseph, the Levite from Cyprus. The Bible tells us that it was this man who in the early days of the church sold his property to help his needy brothers. Acts 4:36-37. Because of his benevolent example, others joined in. He was so loving and giving that the apostles gave him the name Barnabas, which means son of encouragement. Acts 4:36. What an incredible man, and what a great influence in the history of God's church. He was a mighty man, powerful in his generosity. Would you be a mighty man? Become a big-hearted, generous man. Some men have the gift of making money. Everything they touch turns a profit. They are wise businessmen with an instinct and a mind for finances. If you are such a man, then use your gift to make a great amount of money and then give it away. So many problems could be helped or solved if more men were generous in this way. People need spiritual help. They need wisdom. They certainly need prayer. But sometimes what they really need is cold, hard cash. We need the financial resources to preach the gospel around the world, and we also need money to help relieve the sufferings of the poor and the sick and to meet the needs of our own members who are in distress. This section is titled Modern-Day Examples, a section featuring two benevolence stories as guiding examples. The first story is titled Giving Financially. Art Belden is a man known for his benevolence in the Triangle Church. Art and his wife Diane were converted just a few years ago. When they came to the church, their marriage was on the rocks, their children were unhappy, and they were beset with severe personal struggles. They saw that God was the answer for their problems and were soon baptized into Christ. They were, and still remain, very grateful to God for saving their lives and souls. Art has a job of significant responsibility and influence. He is well compensated for his efforts and lives in a nice home, but he realizes that all of his affluence would have been for naught had not he and his wife become disciples. Art and Diane have gladly committed themselves to being generous. Without fanfare and without being asked, they continually help those in need. They do far more good than any one of us knows. The Beldens are not only generous with their resources, but are two of the most hospitable and evangelistic members of our congregation. It is obvious to all who know him that the more Art gives away, the more God blesses him. This modern-day Barnabas is a beloved mighty man who has helped and inspired many in our church. The second story is titled Giving Expertise. Rick Overturf is the kind of man who knows how things work. He can exorcise the demons from any malfunctioning mechanical contraption on the planet. When Rick was challenged to be a mighty man in the Triangle Church, he decided to put his abilities to work, and he did so in an ingenious way. He observed that many of the single mothers in our church had cars that were badly in need of repair. Rick planned to fix the cars, but he wanted to accomplish more than that. He decided to train a group of men in the fine art of basic auto maintenance. He gathered together about 10 willing men from our church and identified a group of the single moms whose cars needed work. Then one Saturday, he set up a car repair shop in the church parking lot. I will never forget the sight as I drove in that day. There were cars everywhere, hoods open, engines running or attempting to run, and large numbers of men leaning over and crawling under cars. And there was Rick, running from car to car, giving advice and overseeing the whole thing. Off to the side stood a group of women smiling, laughing, watching their kids, and waiting for their cars to be fixed up, for free. All they had to do was supply the parts. It was one of the happiest sights I had seen in many a day, and a proud moment for me as I saw Rick and all the brothers helping out the sisters. I thought, this is the way God's church is supposed to be. And I thanked God for Rick and his team of mechanics. Rick figures he has done over $17,000 in repairs already, and he's just getting started. He has also taught some brothers some needed skills, and more importantly, has taught them to care about and serve those in need. As we conclude Chapter 14, ask yourself, what can you do to help the needy? What is out there waiting for you to do? Take it on. You may have money to give, then give it. You may have the skill to fix a single woman's car or repair her home or to paint a widow's house. You may want to mow a yard, give a ride, whatever, do it. We need a new order of knighthood to arise in our churches. We need thousands of men who will be mighty in benevolence. As we do so, not only will we make a tremendous difference in our churches and communities, but we ourselves will live under God's blessing. For Proverbs 14:21 reminds us, "Blessed is he who is kind to the needy." Mighty Man of God audiobook. Copyright 2025, Illumination Publishers, all rights reserved.